work that. They make that, I think, attempt to change, like, we have to, one of my examples ever.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. As this meeting been noticed in accordance with applicable law.
The meeting has been posted and noticed according to law.
All trustees are present with the exception of President Rosick and Trustee Carpenter, who I spoke to and would have liked to have been here for budget, but had a conflicting meeting. So first order of business is a special order of business. Consider AMI water meter vendor contract. Dan?
Your packet includes versions of the appropriate contracts for the water meter replacement project. You'll notice there are two sets of contracts. The first is with Midwest Meter, who is the project vendor. We will purchase the actual meters from, and they will be responsible for the installation of those meters. The second set of agreements is with Aclara, and that deals with all of the software purchases and operations and licenses. I say you have some versions of the contracts because those are not actually the exact contracts that will ultimately sign. You might notice that one of them includes Shorewood, Illinois rather than Shorewood, Wisconsin. And there I believe is another reference somewhere to, rather than state of Wisconsin, I think it says state of New York. So just some little things that we need to clear up, not with Midwest Meter, but with Aclara. And we don't have a local direct contact with Aclara here. You may remember Steve Douster from Midwest Meter. He is the project manager with Midwest Meter, and Tom Nenning is our project consultant, project manager from City. So the motions that you have in the suggested motions in the memo, you will note authorize staff to execute the contract. So when we have the final corrected version that changes those location references, then the village manager will execute.
Thank you, Dan.
I would make a motion. These all be put together.
I think they have to be read as
Separate motions. I would move to direct staff to execute the contract to purchase the services of Midwest Meter Incorporated.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I would make a motion to direct staff to execute the software license agreement with Aclara Technologies LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I would just say one thing. I noticed that it's a software license agreement, and I was reading through some of the prior agreements, and I just think we want to make sure that we have a good patent and intellectual property identification. I noted that some tied the identification to the current version of the software, so that's fine if we're upgrading continuously, but I would just want to make sure that we pay close attention to that kind of language in the contract.
Yeah, I reviewed it and asked them questions. And that's one of the points that.
Okay. And also, I apologize, if anyone in the public wants to make a comment, please let me know. I'm calling up the trustees, have we go around the table with the trustees. So, getting back to the motion in a second. We have a motion and a second. Seeing no further comments, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I would make a motion to direct staff to execute the maintenance agreement with Aclara Technologies LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to 4B, consider RFP for Southeast Area Combined Sewer Improvements. Deanna, I think you're up again?
I'm still up. You have in your packet a draft request for proposals for engineering services for all phases of the Southeast Area Combined Sewer Improvements. You know, if you recall, we talked about this during the long-range financial planning process. This RFP will secure engineering services with a single engineering firm to design upfront all phases of the intended and planned sewer work. As of now, the long-range financial plan anticipates 3 phases of construction. One of the points in the RFP is asking the selected design engineer to review that for feasibility and constructability. You may recall we also talked about that. Staff's looking at it, believes it can be constructed in this manner, but we want to make sure that that is in fact the case. So that will be one of the points of the proposal. Additionally, one of the goals of bringing the engineer on as soon as possible is so that they can be involved in the preliminary, but the design of the MMSD near surface collector and Edgewood Avenue. That is slated for construction to start in 2020.
Thank you, Dan. Trustee Renzo?
They haven't started the design MMSD.
They are, they expect to complete the preliminary design phase, which is 30% plans, sometime in early January. And as of now, are planning to make a presentation to you at either your 2nd January or your 1st February. That presentation will include discussion of the conceptual project, a little bit of talk about construction, staging, and then you may recall we talked about this, they will be making a formal request to you for the use of river park lot C during construction.
Further comments or motion?
I would make a motion that staff be authorized to publish the Southeast Area Combined Sewer Improvements Request for Proposals.
Second.
Uh,
I
I have a motion and a second. Any? Trustee Renzo?
As I did call in earlier today, it's very valuable to have the links now in our background section, and I use them a lot to go back and look at the report. But you know, there's been so many twists and turns with this particular project, and so when you go back, for example, to the supplementary memo, there's discussion of both what we're talking about doing, and then also a next phase that goes out with an outlet to the river, and that's outdated. That part never got permitted. So I would suggest that we have an updated web page specific to, now that we're starting to get, we're really starting to do it now. Okay, we're taking our first steps. So I think in terms of letting the public know what's going on, I would love to have like a one-pager that we as trustees could have to hand out to people or talking about the project, or what the project really is going to be, exactly where it's going to be, and also that, you know, we're looking at being able to manage flows of up to 2.5 inches of rain in an hour, and then people need to understand that what we had in 2010 was like 10 inches. So I mean, so we're managing expectations, and so we're getting the right information out to people, and so we really understand it too. So if we could have a one-pager, actual physical paper to pass out, and then something, a page on the website. We've already talked about that. So.
I think that's a good idea.
It is a great idea.
Any other? Trustee McKay?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I'm also just really excited that I am gonna get to vote for the RFP to go out because it's been so long. And I think we're at a really good solution.
I think it's a great idea as well. Do you have any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
These are two really good things.
The next item is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we move to the public hearing on the 2020 proposed Village of Shorewood budget, and for that, I will turn it over to Mark.
Thank you. I have prepared a brief overview of the public hearing segment for those who may not have had an opportunity to read the entire 400-page budget. So we'll go through that and then continue on with the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting. The 2020 budget, I'm going to just do a brief overview, some summary of the fund information, and after the public hearing, there's going to be a number of resolutions to be approved related to the budget, as well as some additional resolutions related to the tax levy of special assessments and special charges to the tax roll. There's a tax levy composition for the village. You may recall there are 5 different taxing authorities putting levies on Shorewood properties. The village portion of that is approximately 20% of the total, or 27% of the total, followed by the percentages there for the other taxing jurisdictions. 10-year average tax levy increase for the village has been 1.66%, although I do want to mention in recent years it's been below 1.66%. I think last year's was, I've got a note, 0.59%. This year's 1.42%. In 2018 was 1.5, so we're trending below that 10-year average in the last 3 years. Of the total tax levy for the village, it's broken up between operations and capital and debt service. The takeaway on this slide is really that debt service is approximately 16% of the total tax levy. The impact on the village portion of the tax levy for this year on a benchmark home of $300,000 in value would be about $24 more than in 2019. Revenues for the village, 69% reliant on the general fund on property taxes. Total general fund increase proposed for 2020 is 1.63%, and most other revenues are expected to remain relatively unchanged, although we did get a slight increase in state transportation aids this year under the new funding formula approved at the state level. On the expenditure side, general fund expenditures are slated to increase about 3%, salaries 3.6%, other governmental payments 2.1%, and the distribution of those costs by service area, 33% are police and court, 27% is other public safety, which is predominantly the North Shore Fire Department contract with the Village of Shorewood, 23% public works, and the others as presented. One of the things that we like to do is to break out your taxes in the framework of what it would be if it were a monthly bill, like many of the other services that homeowners pay for. Total tax bill would be about $197.33 a month. Again, that's on a benchmark $300,000 home. And then the component costs of that for the police department, fire department, public works, and so on. Just to give a little more context of, you know, what that monthly cost would be for the services being provided. There's several special revenue funds, a library fund, elder service funds, which runs our senior resource center, and a Shorewood Today fund, which publishes the Shorewood Today magazine. All of these funds had very modest increases in 2020. The library operating budget is funded 87% by property taxes. The elder service fund is 53% of property taxes, with the remaining funding being through $31,000 in fees and $65,585 through the William Benjamin Fund, which supports many of the services at the Senior Resource Center. And within the Shorewood Today Fund, 85% of that fund's budget is supported through advertising fees. Within our debt service fund, there are two components to that. The first component is general property tax levy supported debt service, which is approximately 43% of the debt service budget. The remaining is tax incremental district supported, and those funds come from our tax incremental districts and are transferred into the debt service fund to make those payments. The 2020 proposed budget holds the property tax levy for debt service at a 0.0% increase from 2019. Here's a 6-year trend of our debt service history. The red line is our actual debt service. The blue line, or the green line rather, is the funds that are being appropriated from the tax levy for that. The difference between the two is being supported by the use of general fund reserves that have accumulated over the years. We're doing that in order to help reduce the tax levy for these needs as those reserves are available. Within the capital project funds, we've got a number of significant projects planned for 2020. We also have a budget for $2 million of anticipated 2021 projects, and that's in the budget because we will be bonding in 2020 for both the 2020 and 2021 projects, so that helps display the revenue and both the revenue and the cost components of that bonding effort. We do have a truck that we're carrying forward from 2019 to 2020. We're just not going to get delivery of that truck in 2019, so that's going to show us up being funded from general capital reserves. We expect delivery early in 2020 on that, but that truck was approved in the 2019 budget. The village maintains 3 enterprise funds. We call them utilities: parking utility, water utility, sewer utility. Very little changes in the parking utility for 2020. Water utility is having a modest cost increases. We're not anticipating any rate increases for the water utility in 2020. And the single most significant component within the expenditures of the water utility is the purchase of water from Milwaukee Water Works. That accounts for 35% of the budget, or about $700,000. Within the sewer budget, you're also having some modest increases in operating expenses for 2020, 6.4%. We are proposing a rate increase for sewer services of about 16% for 2020. That's to support ongoing capital costs and the aforementioned kind of gearing up for the major sewer program coming up over the next several years. And again, the single most significant cost within the sewer utility is the MMSD wastewater fees of $780,000. That's 42% of the operating expenditures of the sewer utility fund. Based on information that we know at this time, this is a summary of the various taxing bodies and the anticipated change year over year. You'll notice that the county and the school credit are estimates at this time. The aggregate impact of that is about a 1.7% tax increase. That's about $147 village-wide. Again, that's on the benchmark $300,000 home. The village component of that, again, is $24. And just to wrap it up, again, while I'm presenting the overview here, all of our department heads put in a lot of time and effort preparing the budget, working through the process. And the village board also put in a lot of time working through this process and weighing the various needs of the community to come up with the proposed 2020 budget. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and so I want to echo thank you to all the department heads who helped us to put this together and work through the budget this year. With that, I'll open it up to the floor for any comments from the trustees or any questions. Sorry, I will accept public comments first. Excuse me. So anybody that would like to make a comment, yes, please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Me?
Yes.
Is this the public hearing, the official public hearing?
Yes.
So you're opening here?
You're opening the public hearing.
You're opening the public hearing.
Can you say what time?
7:57.
Oh, yeah.
You're opening the public hearing at 7:57 p.m.
That's what I thought you said.
My name is Jeff DeRidian. I live at 4101 North Prospect Avenue. Just aside, does the village president vote with the other trustees? Or is that just a great
No,
time?
it's a trustee.
Okay, I've lived in this village. I moved here, I think, in 1974 originally, and I lived here for a few years, and I came back, I've been here 20-some years. When I moved here, the village shoveled the sidewalks if there was more than 3 inches of snow. And to a senior citizen, that's a real important service. And it is not, it's been gone for 15 years probably since they've done that. But for an old guy to get out there with a shovel or a snowblower and try to shovel, we do it like everybody else because we take pride in our homes and because there's a legal responsibility. But the snowplows come through and after we do it for an hour and a half, if you live on the corner, snowplow comes back and plows us back in. So not only have we cut back on the services that older people love, but it burdens us more with the threat of a fine or a citation of some kind if we don't do it a second time because the Department of Public Works takes no doesn't have time to stop and clear everybody's driveway. So I'd like to remind people that there are people, there are older people, there are people who live here and require services. And the village board seems more interested in helping, not more interested, but I've heard proposals that you want to help landlords, absentee landlords whose water main may have broken and you want to help them pay their water bills. And the school district has taken out a $60 million bond issue. All of that stuff, so we have to pay, but what do we get? You worry about whether a business has a parking reserved for them, and you worry about everybody else, but there are people who live here. And I'd like to, I don't know that you have thought about what $24 means year after year to people who live here, and then what the additional school board levies are going to be. I've sat through committees, and I know that you take each issue separately in and you look honestly at each one, but as a package, they are not serving people well who live here. And I'd like to ask that you, the big thing is the snow removal on the sidewalks that you used to do, and that was a great service. You're giving money to the schools, you're giving money to the library. As much as library, well, we all love libraries, we all love children, we all love everything. Well, why don't you love older people who really have a hard time? And it's, when you live on a corner and you've got, I don't know, 100 yards of sidewalk, it's a lot of work. We pay taxes on it. Why not help us too? Now, there are two sides to it. It's the cost of providing the service and the gathering of revenue that you can use to pay for it. I took a television set to the dump, and the person who took it from me told me he'd give me a discount if I paid cash, and gave me a handwritten receipt that was not numbered or linked, as far as I know, to any village account. I'd like to know whether the village has asked to get the money back from the person who took it, and whether there's an effort to stop leakage of funds that could go to things that we need, and not just try to say, oh, he didn't mean it, or his wife had a heart attack. You know, I mean, just answer that now. Have we tried to get money back from employees who take it at the recycling plant? Who've taken money and taken cash and given receipts?
Yes, sir. I would turn over, I'm not sure offhand what our audit function is like. I don't-
Have the police been notified? Is there an investigation of any kind, somebody stealing property? And
Yeah, I appreciate your concern, I just want to make sure that we're not off agenda. We can certainly put together an answer.
this is about whether you're getting all the money you have coming to you. This is a budget issue. I mean, because we have to compensate for revenue that is not safeguarded.
No, I understand, and we can certainly look into that and get back.
When you look into it, can we have a date by which somebody can let us know? How about a week, 2 weeks, or the next board meeting? Can we find out?
Well, we certainly can address this at items of future consideration. The board members interested in bringing this up.
We can do that. Also, email, I imagine an email question to village staff would, they could share with you whatever's public regarding our audit process and how we prevent leakage, so I think you can be
I'm talking about a specific incident of somebody stealing money, whether the village cares about the lost revenue and tries to get it back. That's really an issue, because you're worried. We have nice charts. We don't show that there's not a chart for money that's been stolen. So it'd be good if we maintained a vigilant posture. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public who would like to comment on the budgets? Seeing none, I will close the hearing at 8:04. And next move on to proposed budget amendments from the village board. Mr. McKay.
I would like to propose an amendment to restore the Capitol Drive marking,
Street marking.
what's that?
Street marking.
Street marking, for a total of $50,000 in the capital fund and, yes, in the capital fund.
Second.
And
And the source of the funding, is it single property tax levy or?
it to the in-tax levy. The reason why I am making this amendment this evening is because I feel that it is a safety issue. After we discussed it and made that cut, I was out in the evening and had the opportunity to notice that those are reflective markings, and I do feel that it's a safety issue, and I think it's about $10 per household, and I think that that's a reasonable amount to pay, considering what a value it is to have a walkable community, and especially on days when it's getting dark so early. There are lots of people that need to cross the street along Capitol. It's a very busy street. So I wanted to bring that to our attention.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Can I just ask, since we did discuss this during budget hearings, I mean, we discussed this particular item and there were not 4 votes for it. I don't know that we took an actual vote on it though, or if it was, I don't remember exactly what we did, so I'm just saying is this a reconsideration or something, so would it have to be a motion to reconsider by someone who voted? I'm just asking procedurally how we would deal with this.
Right there.
Budget is not yet been adopted, and it's on the table for discussion, anything that happened in the committee, I think, is that what you're talking about, committee?
Right.
Yeah, no, that would be just a recommendation by the committee. And then now the public hearing's been made, now it's up for a vote and potential adoption or amendment as the board sees fit collectively.
My inclination is to agree. I think that, you know, I do understand the concern. We did have a discussion in the committee level. I would be supportive of looking at, I think, the third quarter budget surplus and maybe applying it towards this is the first thing that we consider. But again, I think that you're right, there was a discussion of it. And I think that as it was prioritized with other things, we decided not to fund it this year. Trustee Buckles?
Yes, we did have a discussion, and just like always in budget, we do bring things to the table during, after the public hearing. And I understand that $50,000 is a considerable amount, but I do agree with Trustee McKay and have also gone out since you mentioned this and looked at the markings. And we are Shorewood, we tout ourselves as a walkable community. Public safety is, priority. And I know that there was a lot of give and take in this budget, which is understandable and a very judicious process. But I know sometimes, to me at least, it seems that we get so, how would I say this? So fixated on a number sometimes, and I'm not sure that quantifying something such as public safety in this regard, to stay under a certain number is really the best way to represent this community. So I understand that. I do like your idea of looking for surplus, but there is a reason this was initially in the budget, and we as trustees removed it, not staff, against the recommendation of the staff in order to save money. So I would say that I will support this motion, and I hope others would as well.
Trustee McKay?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that I realize that this is, I've never made a budget amendment before, and the only reason I'm bringing this forward is just out of, I just felt the duty to do that. But I completely respect everybody's choice to vote on the matter.
Trustee Menzel?
How this would affect our levy increase?
Well, at that point, it's a $50,000 increase. Again, the quick rule that we use is it's about $1 per household for every $5,000 of levy. So again, it'd be about a $10 impact for the benchmark household.
So we go from $24 to $34?
That's correct.
Further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries 3-2.
Oh, you. We need 4 votes?
Not so moved.
Is it?
We had a majority, we had almost 3 of us.
All right, do we have any further budget amendments?
I'd like to make one as well. I would like the board to consider fully funding the 4th of July celebration. During our budget discussion, we shaved 20% off of the funding, which amounts to $1,000 per year. And I understand that one of the reasons that it was suggested by some trustees to reduce it from $5,000 to $4,000 was because we haven't had to pay for the whole 5 this last year. But it's 4th of July, it's a major celebration, and I don't want to speak for all veterans, but I can say that I would really appreciate it if we would continue to fund it at the full amount for the extra $1,000 per year, which is, what is that, Mark, $1 per household?
20 cents.
20 cents per household.
So are you making a motion?
So, yes, I move to restore the funding of 4th of July celebration to the full amount of $5,000 per year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
You know, I have to say that we had a good faith process during budget discussion at which we had majorities against both these things. And the fact that 2 members of the board have chosen to go to a school board meeting addressing an incident of great concern in school safety, because that meeting was scheduled for the same time as our budget hearing, and we're now taking the opportunity of 2 members not being here to reverse decisions that we made as a group during budget hearings, I think really shows it's, I don't know exactly what the right word was, lack of good faith, I think, in the process.
I mean, for me, I understand that these things are important things that we're talking about. I am comfortable with the budget as it came out of committee, so I'm going to vote no on the motion, and that's where I stand. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
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 Motion fails 2-3. Or 3-2. Do we have any further proposed budget amendments? Mark?
If I could entertain in lieu of the previous budget amendment, an adjustment to the distribution of funding within the capital project fund to maintain compliance with the expenditure restraint program limits. That adjustment would be to increase state aids in the capital fund by $25,000 and reduce property. Well, property taxes per motion went up 50. So this amendment would increase state aids by 25 and reduce property taxes by 25 in the capital fund. And the other side of that would be to increase property taxes 25,000 in the general fund and decrease the state aids in the general fund by 25,000. It's a neutral motion there. It just, the way the funding formula works, we need to reduce the property taxes in the capital fund as a result of this previous motion by 25,000. I propose doing that by swapping out the state aids and property taxes between the general fund and the capital fund.
Okay.
You need a budget, should we do an amendment now? Would it be?
Yeah, that'd be swell.
I would make a motion to, in the capital fund, increase the state aids by 25,000 and reduce the property tax levy dependent, capital expenditures by 25,000. In the general fund, I would also decrease the state aids by 25,000 and increase the general fund expenditures level supported by property taxes by 25,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mark, does that square with what you need in terms of?
That does, yes.
Clean it up.
Okay, so motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Any more amendments? Seeing none, let's move to citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens to be heard? Seeing none, let's move on to new business.
Can I ask for a recess?
Yes,
5 minutes?
5 minutes. 5
Any
minutes. Any objections?
No?
5 minutes.
objections?